Liam had never seen a crowd like this before. The Celestia Expo was the largest gathering in the galaxy, and the spaceport buzzed with voices, lights, and colors from 100 different worlds. Humans, aliens, and hybrids moved among each other, some in formal uniforms, others in casual attire that shimmered with nanofabrics, reflecting every color in the spectrum. Liam gripped his backpack tighter and tried not to look too nervous. He was just a young engineer from Earth, but this year he had been invited to witness the unveiling of the latest alien technologies. It was the kind of opportunity that could define a career, or at least make for a very interesting story to tell friends back home. He and his friend Juno were standing in line for the main exhibition hall. Juno, taller and always more confident, leaned over and whispered, "Keep your eyes open. I heard the Queen of Valoris herself is attending today. They say she's remarkable." Liam nodded but didn't pay much attention. He had seen images of Queen Elira before, holographic portraits that showed a tall, slender figure with an almost ethereal poise. She seemed distant and untouchable, someone who belonged on a pedestal rather than in a casual crowd like this. Still, the idea of seeing her in person sent a shiver of excitement down his spine. As they moved forward, Liam noticed two women approaching the line. One was the epitome of elegance, her posture flawless and her every movement deliberate. Her long coat, a deep shade of violet that seemed to absorb the light around her, hinted at her status, but it was her calm expression that made Liam pause. Beside her walked a younger woman, seemingly her attendant, carrying a small tablet and speaking quietly. Liam's eyes were drawn to the taller woman. She had the kind of presence that made you instinctively step back a little. Without thinking, Liam leaned toward Juno and whispered, "Wow, look at the queen. She's really fit. I mean, her posture, her height, she looks like she could handle anything." Juno snorted quietly but didn't stop him from talking. "Careful, Liam, people might hear you." Liam shrugged. He didn't notice that the woman beside him, yes, the tall, elegant one, had stopped just a step away from his shoulder. Her gaze met his briefly, and in that instant he realized he had made a terrible mistake. She wasn't just any guest at the expo. She was Queen Elira of Valoris herself. The queen, the very person he had just whispered about, was standing right next to him. He froze, and for a moment, words deserted him. The line continued to move slowly, but every step felt like a lifetime. Queen Elira's eyes didn't flash with anger as he had feared. Instead, there was a soft, curious light in them. She inclined her head slightly and asked in a calm, melodic voice, "And what makes a queen worth admiring to you, young man?" Liam's mouth opened, then closed, then opened again. I didn't," he began, but she interrupted him with a gentle smile. "I am listening," she said simply. There was no accusation, no sharpness, only a quiet expectation that made him realize this was a conversation he couldn't fumble away. He cleared his throat, trying to gather his thoughts. "I guess it's not just about appearance," he said finally. "It's about strength, confidence, the way someone can handle responsibility. Humans admire those who lead with courage, who make tough choices, who inspire people to be better." Queen Elira nodded slowly, her expression thoughtful. "Interesting. And what is it about humans that inspires you, Liam?" He blinked in surprise. She knew his name. He hadn't even introduced himself. Humans. We're persistent, I guess. We take risks. We try things even when we don't know the outcome. We make mistakes, but we keep going. I think that's what makes us interesting." The Queen's lips curved into a faint smile. "Indeed. Your species seems to value courage over caution and audacity over hesitation. That is rare in the galaxy." Liam felt a flush of pride mixed with embarrassment. He had only intended to make a careless comment, and now he was standing next to a galactic monarch, explaining humanity's virtues. He stumbled over a few more words, talking about human explorers, inventors, and thinkers, highlighting the very things that made humans unpredictable and resilient. Queen Elira listened without interruption. Occasionally she would nod, her eyes sparkling as if she could see the logic behind his words, even if it was different from her own civilization's methods. Humans were unstructured, chaotic at times, and yet effective. That combination fascinated her. By the time the line moved forward again, Liam had regained a little confidence. He had not embarrassed himself completely. Instead, he had started a conversation that was unusual, unexpected, and dare he think, genuine. Queen Elira stepped slightly closer. "There is a demonstration aboard my ship later today. I would like to see how humans approach a challenge that requires more than mere knowledge. Will you join us?" Liam's jaw dropped. "Emmy, on your ship." "Indeed," she said simply, as if inviting a stranger to tea. "I am curious about your ingenuity." He glanced at Juno, who was staring at him in disbelief. "Did she just invite me?" he whispered. "She did," Juno said, her eyes wide. "Don't mess this up." The rest of the line passed by in a blur. Liam felt lightheaded, a mixture of excitement and panic buzzing in his chest. He tried to focus on moving forward, but every step felt surreal. He had gossiped about the Queen's appearance, and now he was going to be invited to demonstrate human creativity to her directly. As they entered the main hall, Liam could feel the pulse of energy from the crowd. Alien technology glimmered on every side: floating display screens, anti-gravity walkways, robots performing delicate tasks, but his attention kept returning to the Queen. She moved gracefully, acknowledging dignitaries and dignitaries' aides, but every so often her gaze seemed to search the crowd, and Liam felt certain she was checking on him. He tried to blend in, but he couldn't shake the nervous excitement. For the first time, he realized that humans had something rare. They didn't need perfect control to solve problems. They improvised, they adapted, they surprised even the most advanced minds. And now, in this moment, he was about to prove it. Hours passed in a blur of exhibitions and demonstrations. Liam watched as alien engineers displayed technologies that were beyond his comprehension. Machines that bent space, devices that seemed to manipulate time on a small scale, and tools that could replicate food or medicine almost instantly. Every display was awe-inspiring, but the thought of the Queen's invitation lingered in the back of his mind. Finally, the time came for a private demonstration aboard her ship. Liam followed her aides through a side corridor, his heart hammering in his chest. The corridor was sleek, silent, and filled with soft blue lights that shifted as he walked. He had never been on a ship like this. It was alive with energy, yet perfectly controlled. Queen Elira waited in a small observation room overlooking a central chamber filled with a complex device that looked like a puzzle. Panels, levers, and glowing symbols moved in a slow, deliberate rhythm. It was intricate, elegant, and clearly designed to challenge even the most skilled minds. "This puzzle has challenged my people for decades," she said, her voice calm but firm. "No Valorian has solved it yet. I am curious to see what a human will do." Liam swallowed hard. He stepped closer, feeling a mix of fear and excitement. This was his chance to show that humans were more than impulsive or reckless. They were inventive, bold, and capable of surprising even the most advanced civilizations. He examined the device, letting his instincts guide him. Where logic seemed to fail, he tried improvisation. Where patterns were too complex, he experimented. Slowly, carefully, he began to understand the rhythm of the machine. And then, almost instinctively, he made a small adjustment, a simple move that no one else had tried. The entire puzzle shifted, lights aligning perfectly, symbols glowing in sequence. Queen Elira's eyes widened in genuine admiration. "Remarkable," she said softly. "Your species may lack the discipline of Valorians, but your ingenuity, your boldness, it is something we rarely see." Liam felt a rush of relief and pride. He had started the day with a careless whisper, And now he had earned the Queen's respect through something far more meaningful than appearances. As he looked at her, he realized that human strength wasn't measured in muscle or rank. It was measured in spirit, in the ability to adapt, to think differently, to keep trying even when the odds seemed impossible. And in that quiet, glowing room aboard a Valorian ship, Liam felt the weight and wonder of being human in a galaxy full of civilizations that could outthink, outbuild, and outmaneuver him in countless ways, but never outimagine. The Queen's smile lingered as she spoke again, softly this time, almost like a whisper meant only for him. "You have much to teach, Liam, and I believe we will learn from each other." For the first time that day, Liam could breathe normally. He had gossiped, he had panicked, and yet he had stumbled into something extraordinary. He wasn't just a human in a galaxy of advanced beings. He was a human capable of showing the universe what humans were truly made of. Liam could hardly believe he had been invited aboard Queen Elira's ship. His legs felt like jelly, and every step down the polished corridor echoed in his chest like a drum. The ship was alive in ways he could hardly describe. Soft hums of energy resonated through the walls. Panels shifted and realigned themselves as if the ship was aware of his presence, and every surface reflected light in mesmerizing patterns. He could feel 100 tiny sensors watching, scanning, learning. "Relax," Juno whispered, walking beside him. "I know it's intimidating, but just be yourself. That's what she wants to see." Liam took a shaky breath. "Be myself. I just gossiped about her in the line. I don't think I have a myself that's worthy of the Queen." Juno smirked. "That's exactly why she invited you. You're human. You make mistakes, but you try, you improvise, you surprise." He didn't want to admit it, but she was right. That unpredictability, the human way of thinking outside of strict rules, had always caused him trouble back on Earth, but perhaps here it was a strength. When they reached the central chamber, Liam felt his heart hammer. The puzzle device loomed in the center, its complexity almost overwhelming. It was a lattice of glowing panels, levers, and symbols that shifted like liquid crystal. The lights pulsed rhythmically, and each movement seemed to trigger a small, unpredictable reaction elsewhere in the machine. The Queen stood at one end, her violet coat perfectly straight, her hands lightly folded, watching him with an intensity that made him gulp. "This puzzle," she began, her voice calm and precise, "has challenged my people for decades. No Valorian has solved it completely. It is not meant to be destructive, but it is a test of intellect, strategy, and creativity. Your task, Liam, is simple in words. Find the solution." But simple words do not guarantee simple results. Liam nodded, trying to appear confident, though inside he felt a swirl of fear and excitement. He had to prove humans were capable of something unique. He had to demonstrate that adaptability, ingenuity, and bold thinking could succeed where meticulous logic sometimes failed. He stepped closer and studied the device. At first, he tried the obvious solutions, the ones any rational mind would attempt. Panels aligned, levers clicked, but the puzzle resisted him. Symbols glowed briefly, then faded. He realized that following strict logic alone would not work. He paused, then remembered the Queen's words from earlier when she had asked what made humans admirable. Humans didn't always follow the rules perfectly. They improvised. They experimented. They learned from mistakes. Taking a deep breath, he placed his hand on a lever and tilted it slightly differently than any diagram he had seen. The device reacted, and a section of the puzzle rotated unexpectedly, opening a small corridor of light he hadn't noticed before. A thrill of excitement ran through him. He was onto something. Queen Elira's gaze was fixed on him, calm but intense. "Interesting," she said softly. "You approach this differently than any Valorian would. You are not hindered by overthinking. That is refreshing." Liam's pulse quickened. He moved carefully but decisively, following his instincts rather than the strict patterns the Valorians favored. He adjusted panels, twisted levers, and manipulated symbols in ways that felt natural, almost instinctual. Where one path failed, he tried another. Where something seemed impossible, he experimented. Slowly the machine responded, its movements becoming more synchronized, more elegant. "You think like a human," Queen Elira said, her voice carrying a hint of admiration. "Not like a machine, not like a scholar. You improvise, you adapt. You create solutions that are not obvious. That is the difference I hope to see." Hours passed. Liam didn't even notice time moving. He became fully absorbed in the puzzle, his mind sharp, agile, and creative. He remembered stories of human explorers who had crossed oceans, deserts, and mountains against impossible odds. He remembered inventors who had built devices from scraps and materials others deemed useless. He felt a strange kinship with those long-ago humans and realized that their audacity lived in him now. Slowly, piece by piece, the puzzle began to yield to him. He discovered patterns in chaos, paths in complexity, and solutions where none seemed possible. And then, with one final adjustment, a combination of intuition and trial and error, the entire device clicked into place. Lights flared, symbols aligned, and a smooth, melodic chime resonated throughout the chamber. The machine's rhythm slowed to a perfect harmony, as if it recognized his success. For a moment, silence fell. Liam's chest heaved with exhaustion and elation. He had done it. A human had solved a puzzle that had stumped Valorians for decades. Queen Elira's expression softened into a smile, one of genuine admiration and wonder. "Remarkable," she said quietly. "You have accomplished what my people could not. Your species, your ingenuity, it is extraordinary." Liam felt a warm rush of pride, mixed with disbelief. He had gone from a nervous whisperer in a crowd to someone recognized for human ingenuity. I didn't expect, thank you," he stammered. "Do not thank me yet," the Queen said with a faint smile. "What you have demonstrated is not just skill, but perspective. You see solutions differently because you do not confine yourself to convention. That is a strength I believe all humans share. It is bold and sometimes reckless, but it is effective. That is the essence of your species." He blinked. Bold, reckless, effective. It sounded chaotic, but somehow he understood what she meant. Humans thrived in uncertainty. Where others hesitated, humans acted. Where others overanalyzed, humans experimented. And sometimes that combination produced brilliance. "Do you know," she continued, "my people have long believed that intelligence is measured by logic, discipline, and memory. But there is another kind of intelligence, adaptability, intuition, creativity, that humans possess in abundance. Today you have demonstrated that perfectly." Liam's mind raced. The words were almost too much to comprehend. He had always thought humans were ordinary. He had doubted himself countless times. And yet here was a queen of an advanced civilization acknowledging that humans had a unique, remarkable strength. I never thought of it like that," he said softly. I just try to figure things out." Queen Elira's eyes sparkled with amusement and admiration. "Exactly. And that is why humans can accomplish what others cannot. You do not fear imperfection. You do not fear failure. You learn, you adapt. That is what makes you extraordinary." He laughed softly, a little nervous, a little thrilled. "I suppose that's one way to look at it." "You may also see it in another way," she said, her voice quiet but intense. "Your boldness can inspire others. Your creativity can change outcomes. Your mistakes can reveal paths no one else thought of. That is the human way, and it is powerful." Liam felt his chest swell. He had never been praised like this. Not for grades, not for projects, not even for achievements back on Earth. But here, in this quiet, glowing chamber aboard a Valorian ship, he felt a new kind of pride, a recognition that human ingenuity, when allowed to flourish, could rival or even surpass the most disciplined minds in the galaxy. Queen Elira gestured to the device. "Observe it now." You have completed it, but I would like you to explain your reasoning. Liam hesitated. How could he explain something he hadn't entirely thought out logically? It had been instinct, improvisation, a little intuition, a little luck. But he tried. He described the process, how he had observed the patterns, experimented with small changes, and followed instincts where logic alone failed. She listened carefully, nodding, her expression unreadable for a moment. Then she spoke. What you describe is not just a method, it is a philosophy. You rely on perception, intuition, and adaptability. These are human qualities, and they are undervalued by many civilizations, yet they can achieve extraordinary results. Liam felt a warmth in his chest. He realized that this queen, this incredibly intelligent, poised, and disciplined being, truly understood humans in a way he hadn't expected. She didn't see humans as chaotic or primitive. She saw them as capable, unique, and inspiring. The rest of the afternoon passed in a blur. Liam continued to experiment with the device under Queen Elira's watchful gaze. Each time he tried a new approach, she offered subtle hints, never giving him the answer, only guiding him to think differently. He realized that this was as much a test of insight and creativity as it was a demonstration of skill, and he thrived in it. By the time they concluded the session, Liam was exhausted but exhilarated. He had not only solved a decades-old puzzle but had also earned the Queen's respect, her genuine admiration. For the first time, he understood the true value of being human, the combination of creativity, adaptability, and audacity. As he followed her to a quiet observation deck overlooking the stars, Queen Elira spoke softly. Humans are capable of things my people cannot predict. That is not a flaw, it is a gift. You have reminded me that in the galaxy, power is not only in knowledge or discipline. It is also in imagination, courage, and the willingness to act where others hesitate. Liam looked out at the stars, feeling a sense of purpose he had never known before. He had started the day as a nervous, careless young engineer who had whispered about the Queen. Now he felt like a representative of his entire species, a symbol of what humans could do when their ingenuity was unleashed. Queen Elira placed a hand lightly on his shoulder. Remember this, Liam. The galaxy is full of challenges. Not all can be solved with precision or logic alone. Your perspective, your creativity, and your audacity will carry humans farther than you can imagine. Today, you have shown the galaxy what your species is truly capable of. And for the first time in his life, Liam truly believed it. The next morning, Liam could hardly sleep. Thoughts of the previous day raced through his mind. The puzzle, the Queen, and the strange mixture of fear and excitement that had accompanied him aboard her ship. He had never imagined that a casual remark, a careless whisper, could lead to such an extraordinary experience. And yet here he was, summoned again. Today would be different. Today, the challenge would be greater. Juno met him at the ship's docking bay. Her eyes were wide, a mixture of excitement and concern. "I don't even know how to say this," she said. "They've arranged a scenario for you, Liam. Something they call a simulation, but it's immersive. It's not dangerous, but it's meant to test your creativity, decision-making, and how humans respond under pressure." Liam gulped. "Pressure, huh? Sounds like they want me to fail." "No," Juno said, shaking her head. "They want to see what humans can do that other species can't." "You've already impressed her. This is the next step." When they reached the ship, the corridor was quiet, almost eerily so. The soft hum of energy followed Liam like a pulse, vibrating through his feet, through his hands, through his chest. It was as if the ship itself recognized the importance of this moment. Queen Elira was waiting in the central command chamber, her expression calm but commanding. She gestured for Liam to step forward. "Today," she said, her voice echoing gently, "you will face a situation that requires more than skill. It will require intuition, adaptation, and the courage to act where certainty does not exist. Are you ready?" Liam swallowed hard. I'll do my best." "Good," she said, her eyes flicking briefly to Juno, who gave him a reassuring nod. "Follow me." She led him into a large chamber, circular in shape, with a domed ceiling that displayed a holographic projection of a distant star system. Planets, moons, asteroids, and comets rotated slowly above them, a vast and detailed simulation. In the center of the room, a console glowed with controls and holographic readouts. "This," Queen Elira said, "is a scenario that replicates the challenges of interstellar navigation and exploration. Your task is to safely guide a vessel through this system while addressing unexpected obstacles. The goal is not speed, but ingenuity, creativity, and if I may say courage." Liam's heart pounded. He had worked on simulations before, but nothing of this scale. He could feel the weight of expectation pressing down on him. The Queen, the Valorian observers, and Juno, all of them were watching. He approached the console cautiously. Panels floated in front of him, each displaying data streams, navigation routes, and environmental readings. Liam's first instinct was to rely on logic, to calculate the safest path through the system. But he quickly realized that the simulation was designed to challenge more than logic. Comets appeared unexpectedly, asteroid belts shifted, and gravitational anomalies disrupted the expected paths. He remembered her words from yesterday: humans improvise, humans adapt. Humans are capable of bold thinking. Taking a deep breath, Liam abandoned rigid calculations. Instead, he observed patterns, noticed how the comets moved in ways that seemed random but had underlying rhythms, and began to adjust the vessel's trajectory based on intuition rather than formulas. "Interesting," Queen Elira murmured. "You do not follow the expected protocols. You trust your instincts." "Yes," Liam said quietly. "Sometimes patterns aren't obvious until you interact with them directly." Minutes stretched into an hour. Liam navigated the vessel through asteroid fields that shifted unpredictably, avoiding collisions by anticipating movement rather than calculating it. He rerouted power to shields in creative ways, combining energy flows to create temporary barriers where the simulation indicated none should exist. He found solutions that the computer systems themselves hadn't predicted, improvising and adapting on the fly. Queen Elira watched intently, her expression a mixture of fascination and quiet admiration. Most species would panic or freeze in the face of unexpected changes. You adjust and continue. You see possibilities where others see obstacles. That is the human way, is it not? Liam nodded, his mind fully immersed in the simulation. I guess so. We try, we adapt. We don't give up when things don't go as expected." Suddenly, a new challenge appeared. A small moon on the holographic display began to fracture, breaking apart into massive chunks that threatened to collide with the vessel. The simulation calculated that conventional avoidance routes would fail. Liam's first thought was panic, but he remembered how humans thrived in uncertainty. He scanned the control panels, noticing a series of smaller gravitational projectors. If aligned correctly, they could manipulate the trajectory of the moon fragments without destroying them. It was risky, untested, and no Valorian had ever attempted it, but Liam had no other option. "Okay," he whispered to himself. "Let's try it." He worked quickly, adjusting the projector's outputs in real time, using intuition and trial and error to guide the fragments into safer paths. Each adjustment required delicate timing, and he could feel the simulation responding instantly to every move. The fragments shifted, slowly at first, then more predictably. Finally, with a precise combination of projector alignments and course corrections, the moon fragments settled into harmless orbits, leaving the vessel unscathed. The chamber fell silent. Liam's hands shook from adrenaline and relief. He had done it. He had solved a challenge that even the most advanced simulations hadn't anticipated. Queen Elira's eyes shone with something approaching wonder. "Remarkable," she said softly. You see solutions where no others could. You rely not on rigid rules but on creativity, courage, and adaptability. That is what makes humans extraordinary. Liam exhaled, finally allowing himself to relax. I just try to do what seems right. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That is the essence of your species, the Queen said. You do not fear failure, you learn from it, you innovate through it. That is why humans continue to surprise me. Juno stepped closer, a proud smile on her face. See, I told you being yourself would work. Liam chuckled nervously. I still can't believe I'm being praised by the Queen for improvising. You are being praised for thinking like a human, Queen Elira corrected gently. That thinking is rare, even among the most advanced civilizations. You have shown that humans possess something extraordinary, the ability to adapt, create, and act boldly in the face of uncertainty. The simulation ended, and the holographic stars faded, leaving the chamber illuminated by the soft ambient glow of the ship. Liam felt a deep sense of accomplishment, not just for completing the challenge, but for demonstrating the value of humanity in a universe that often underestimated it. Queen Elira approached him. Liam, today you have done more than solve a simulation. You have shown my people the strength of human ingenuity and courage. I have observed many species, and few possess the adaptability that humans display naturally. It is a rare gift. Liam felt a warmth spread through his chest. He had started as a nervous young engineer, uncertain of his place in the galaxy. Now he realized that being human was itself a form of strength, one that could surprise, inspire, and even teach others. You've changed the way I see your species, the Queen continued. Your solutions were not only effective, but creative, bold, and unexpected. You remind me that intelligence is not merely the capacity to calculate or predict, but the courage to act and the imagination to see what others cannot. Liam smiled, humbled and proud. I didn't think I could do it, but I guess humans, we find a way. Queen Elira nodded. Indeed, you find a way, and that is why I am interested in humans. Not for their appearance, not for strength, not for power, but for their spirit. That is something the galaxy can learn from. For a moment, the chamber was quiet, except for the soft hum of the ship. Liam looked out at the holographic stars and realized that he was part of something much larger than himself. Humans were not the most disciplined or the most powerful species, but they had something unique, the courage to act, the creativity to improvise, and the resilience to persevere. I think I understand now, he said softly. Being human isn't about being perfect. It's about being willing to try even when you're unsure. It's about adapting, learning, and never giving up. Queen Elira smiled, a rare, warm expression. Exactly, and that is why humans are remarkable. Today, you have proven it beyond doubt. You have shown that spirit, creativity, and courage can achieve what rules and calculations alone cannot. As Liam followed Juno out of the chamber, he felt a sense of pride and purpose he had never experienced before. He had started the day as a nervous observer, unsure of his place in the galaxy. Now he carried with him a new understanding. Humanity was capable of greatness, not through perfection, but through boldness, ingenuity, and heart. The Queen's words echoed in his mind. Your perspective, your creativity, and your audacity will carry humans farther than you can imagine. Liam smiled, realizing that she was right. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges and wonders, and humans had something extraordinary to offer. As the ship's corridor lights dimmed and the stars outside shimmered, Liam understood that this was only the beginning. His journey, and humanity's journey, was just starting. And with spirit, creativity, and courage, there was nothing humans could not face. Liam stepped off Queen Elira's ship onto the Celestia Expo floor, feeling as if the ground beneath him had changed. Everything seemed sharper, brighter, more alive. The crowd of humans and aliens flowed around him, their chatter and laughter a background hum to the storm of thoughts racing in his head. He had faced challenges he never imagined, impressed a queen, and proven that human ingenuity, courage, and creativity could shine even among the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. Yet despite all of this, a part of him still felt nervous. Today, he would not just demonstrate skill in private, he would demonstrate it publicly. The expo organizers had arranged for a special presentation, and Liam was expected to step onto the stage in front of thousands of attendees from dozens of worlds. The weight of expectation pressed on him, heavier than any puzzle or simulation. Juno gave him a reassuring smile. Just remember what you've done on the ship. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to show them what humans are capable of. Liam nodded, though his stomach churned. He had learned something important. Humans weren't perfect, but they were bold, adaptable, and creative. That was what he needed to show. The stage was set in the largest hall of the expo, a gleaming arena of light and sound. Holographic displays shimmered in the air, showing alien technology, scientific achievements, and cultural wonders from every corner of the galaxy. At the center was a replica of the puzzle and simulation he had completed aboard the Queen's ship, now set up for public demonstration. As he stepped onto the stage, murmurs rippled through the audience. Humans, aliens, and hybrids turned to watch, some whispering about the young human who had solved a centuries-old puzzle that even Valorians could not complete. Liam's heart pounded, but he focused on the familiar rhythm of problem-solving, letting instinct guide him. Queen Elira sat in the front row, her violet coat catching the light, her calm eyes fixed on him. She nodded once, a gesture of encouragement, reminding him of everything he had accomplished. Liam began the demonstration. The puzzle on stage was complex, with panels, levers, and symbols that shifted in unpredictable patterns. As he moved his hands, adjusting, twisting, and aligning, he spoke softly to the audience. Humans solve problems by observing, experimenting, and adapting. Sometimes the answer isn't obvious. Sometimes the answer comes from trying something new. He adjusted a lever slightly, and the panels shifted in a way the crowd hadn't anticipated. A section of the puzzle opened, revealing a glowing pathway. He guided it carefully, improvising as he went, making adjustments that seemed risky but were instinctively correct. The audience leaned forward, captivated by the demonstration. A group of Valorian scholars in the front row murmured among themselves. Liam noticed their eyes widen in surprise and admiration. He had learned from Queen Elira that humans didn't just follow rules. They created solutions from observation, intuition, and courage. That combination had always been underestimated, and now it was mesmerizing the galaxy's most disciplined minds. A sudden challenge appeared on the puzzle. A series of symbols began to shift unpredictably, threatening to disrupt the alignment he had achieved. Liam froze for only a moment, then remembered everything he had learned from the ship's simulation. Humans thrived under uncertainty. Humans adapted. Humans improvised. He moved quickly, adjusting multiple levers at once, guiding the symbols with a mix of intuition and observation. The audience gasped as the puzzle responded perfectly to his touch. Lights flared in sequence, and a harmonious chime echoed through the hall. Liam had done it. For a heartbeat, silence reigned. Then the crowd erupted into applause. Humans cheered, but so did aliens from dozens of civilizations, some of whom had never publicly celebrated a human achievement before. The sound was overwhelming, yet exhilarating. Queen Elira rose from her seat, a proud smile on her face. She gestured for the audience to quiet, and her voice carried over the hall. Today, we have witnessed something extraordinary. This young human has demonstrated qualities that cannot be taught: creativity, adaptability, courage, and ingenuity. These are traits that define his species. This is the spirit of humanity, and it is remarkable. The applause intensified. Liam felt a rush of pride and humility. He had started as a nervous young engineer who had whispered thoughtlessly about the Queen's appearance. Now he stood as a symbol of humanity's potential, recognized and respected by a galaxy full of intelligent, disciplined beings. As the applause died down, Queen Elira motioned for him to come closer. "Liam," she said, her voice soft but commanding, "you have reminded us that intelligence is not only measured by knowledge or discipline. It is also measured by courage, creativity, and the willingness to act when certainty does not exist. Humans possess these qualities in abundance, and you have shown them with clarity and grace." Liam felt a warmth spread through his chest. He could barely believe the transformation he had undergone in just a few days. He had learned that being human was not about perfection. It was about heart, adaptability, and the courage to act. That combination, he realized, could achieve incredible results. "You've made history today," Queen Elira continued, "not for your species alone, but for yourself. You have proven that humans are more than underestimated, they are extraordinary. I am honored to witness this demonstration of your capabilities." Liam's eyes met hers, and he realized that she genuinely meant every word. Her admiration was not for his actions alone, but for what those actions represented, the human spirit in all its audacity, creativity, and resilience. Juno stepped forward, beaming. "I think we both knew you could do it, Liam, but seeing it happen, wow." Liam chuckled softly, feeling the tension melt away. "I just tried to do what I thought was right. I guess it worked." "That is precisely why humans succeed where others hesitate," Queen Elira said. "You do not wait for perfect conditions. You act, you adapt, you innovate. That is your strength. That is your gift." Liam's mind wandered back to the moment in the line when he had whispered about the Queen's appearance, not realizing who she was. He had expected judgment, anger, perhaps embarrassment. Instead, he had found understanding, mentorship, and respect. That moment had set in motion a chain of events that changed his life, and he understood now that it was more than chance. It was an example of how humans, through honesty and curiosity, could build bridges even in the most unexpected circumstances. The expo organizers approached him, offering cameras, interviews, and invitations to speak at future events. Aliens of all kinds extended greetings, asking questions about Earth, human technology, and his approach to problem solving. Liam felt a sense of responsibility he had never known. Humans were being seen in a new light, and he was part of that change. Later, as the crowd dispersed, Queen Elira approached him once more. "You have done more than solve puzzles, Liam. You have inspired. You have reminded the galaxy that humanity's strength lies not in perfection, nor in dominance, but in spirit. Ingenuity, courage, and adaptability are your greatest weapons. That is what the galaxy will remember about you and about humans." Liam smiled, humbled and proud. I never thought humans could make such an impact." "You already have," she replied. "And this is only the beginning." As he walked back to Juno, Liam felt a sense of clarity. Humanity's potential was limitless, not because of advanced technology or overwhelming strength, but because of qualities that were uniquely human: imagination, empathy, courage, and the willingness to face uncertainty head-on. He understood now that every small act of creativity, every moment of boldness, and every choice to persevere could ripple across the galaxy in ways no one could predict. That night, as Liam looked out of the observation deck at the stars, he felt a profound connection to every human who had come before him, every explorer, inventor, and thinker. Their spirit lived in him, and now he carried it farther than he had ever dreamed. He realized that being human was not just about survival, it was about possibility, about reaching for the unknown with courage and imagination, about proving, in small ways and large, that humanity could rise to any challenge. Queen Elira stood silently beside him, watching the stars. "You have reminded me of something important," she said softly, "that even in a galaxy of advanced beings, the human spirit can shine brighter than any technology, strategy, or discipline. That is something to be celebrated. Liam nodded. I think I understand now. Being human isn't about being perfect. It's about taking risks, learning from mistakes, and finding solutions where others see obstacles. That's what makes us extraordinary. The Queen smiled, a rare warmth in her expression. Indeed, that is why humanity will always inspire those who observe it. You have shown the galaxy what it means to be human, and it is a remarkable thing to witness. As Liam left the observation deck and returned to the bustling expo floor, he felt a sense of purpose and pride he had never known. He had begun as a nervous young engineer, uncertain of his place in the universe. He had whispered carelessly in a crowd, not realizing that fate had brought him face to face with a queen who would recognize his potential. And now, he understood that humanity's greatest strength was not in might, knowledge, or discipline, but in heart, spirit, and ingenuity. Humans, Liam realized, could change the galaxy, not through fear, not through violence, but through courage, creativity, and the determination to try when others would hesitate. That realization filled him with hope, pride, and excitement. He looked once more at the stars above, thinking of all the challenges and wonders that awaited humanity. And for the first time he understood. Humans were capable of greatness, not despite their imperfections, but because of their audacity, resilience, and boldness. And in that moment, Liam knew that the story of humanity was just beginning, and that he had played a small but meaningful part in reminding the galaxy why humans were extraordinary.